2020, I destroyed the first car I ever built to make this one. Hi, I'm Khal, and this is my masterpiece. Every decision I took and why I took it will be explained in this series. And every piece on this car was either made by hand or pulled off another car. I want to talk about the first car and why I cut it up. So in 2017, I was a fresh graduate and I was full with ambition and I wanted to build something. And I didn't know what it was. We were hauling out scrap metal from a shop we owned at the time. I used to work at that shop on cars for like 6 or 7 years. And my dad is a blacksmith. He used to also do his projects there. So while hauling out the scrap metal, I clicked and I told my dad I wanted to build a car. He thought I was crazy. And eventually I talked him into it and we started building. At the time my brother was still in the country, so we made it a 2-seater so we can cruise around with it. And in 2019 he left the country, so I was left with a car that nobody was brave enough to get in it because it wasn't safe, it was sketchy. And keep in mind it was built on no plans, no blueprint, no nothing. So in 2020 I had the idea to cut it up and make a 1-seater, and I had a degree in mechanical and mechatronics engineering. So in my mind I wanted to build a rocket, hence the shape of this one. I wanted the same layout as the 2-seater, so a mid-engine rear-wheel drive and all the good stuff, but less weight and more drivability, more drifting. So the first car was not cut because it failed, it was cut because it wasn't serving any purpose anymore and it was time for change. What you saw me do at the beginning was the bare frame, which is this lower rail here going to the front and the upper one here. So the tube, all the tubing for the chassis are 3/4 inch with a 3mm wall thickness. So we started at the rear, at the back here. This is the rear axle out of a 4-wheeler. It carries its own bearing, a disc for the brakes and a sprocket for the chain. So how it mounts to the chassis, this is the real first decision I made. These two mounting points here, these two are suspension bushings out of a Mercedes, which was my daily at the time, so I had a lot of parts laying around for it. So it still has the bushings in them, so it can add somewhat of a dampening to the rear axle, which eliminate the side-to-side play and keep the rear axle traveling up and down freely. Up front we have the 2 A-arms that are also from a 4-wheeler, which are mounted using plates at the front sandwiched together to hold the bushings of the arms and a plate at the back. And the top mounts are also using the same sandwich plate technique, which are sized to the bushings of the arms and a bolt going through them, which allows them to play up and down. These measurements have to be accurate. If they're off, the car would sit nose up or nose down and it won't track straight. That's where most of our time actually went. So the steering is one part I engineered myself. The 4-wheeler assembly was too short, so I used this beam to extend it, and I used 4 bolt joints which one is here, two are there, and one is there. And the steering column is a 90-degree bend going straight to the steering wheel. The front shock mounts. So this is the top plate for the shocks. At first I wanted the plate to be mounted here, but then we measured and the lower arm would be sloped downwards, which would have brought up the nose of the car upwards, which would sit kind of funky. So what I ended up doing is raising this mount and connecting both of the shocks together with this beam here, which gave me the right amount of ride height in the front, so it sits a little lower from the back, which is the ideal condition you want this to be. And the whole car is approximately 20 centimeters off the ground, which I would like it to be even lower than that. But that's what I did at the time. If I re-engineered some stuff on the car, maybe I'll get into it. And also you saw me strip it all down and welding it without the parts on it. So there's three reasons why I wanted to make it that way. So everything up to this point was tacked on just to hold the geometry and to hold everything so my measurements would be good. And once all that was to spec, I removed everything. I stripped the whole nose and some parts of the back so I can weld everything. The first reason is heat distortion. So if anything was bolted on and it was giving a little bit of tension before welding, it would warp the whole plate or mounting point we had on hand at the time. And the second reason is access. So if I removed everything, I can weld the inner joints of the plates, the inner joints of every component I can get to. And the third reason is peace of mind. So when I removed everything, I made sure that everything was squared to the chassis itself before welding it fully, and to keep the geometry that I worked on and all the measurements I had to take to keep them all in place. Up to this point, I had a rolling and fully welded frame, but it was just a frame. It lacked an engine, brakes, floor pan, everything. So stay tuned. In the next one, I'll be showing you how the engine went in and all the work that went into putting bushings on the engine. Maybe that's the part I'm proudest of because of the amount of work it took to put these bushings on the mount. And subscribe, send to your friend if he likes to see builds like this, and I'll see you in the next one.